Hey everyone, I have here the LEGO Nano Gauntlet. It's not just a recolor of the Infinity Gauntlet, and I will show you a comparison later on. I bought this for $70 US, which is its retail price, and I built the whole thing live over on my Twitch channel. This has 675 pieces, and the build felt good to me. It felt smooth, interesting, varied, and satisfying most of the way. There was a little bit of an area around a third of the way through, between a third and a half of the way through, where it felt just a little bit finicky. I just had to be a little bit more careful, but it didn't feel frustrating to me at all. And just generally how everything came together was different enough along the way with very little repetition until the very end. You have just a little bit of sense of repetition with the phalanges of the fingers, but for the most part, as you go, like you're doing different things. You're building in different directions. You're using different shapes, different textures of pieces even. It just felt good. Down here on the lower section, most of what looks lighter in color is drum lacquered silver. So it's got an actual satin metallic finish on top of the bricks. That's a coating, except for this ring down here at the base. And you see just a little bit of light gray peeking through right behind there. It's not a very gappy build. It's interesting, you kind of build in very different directions. Some of it's expected from LEGO, typical studs on the side stuff, but some of it, I don't know, again, felt interesting to me and different. This little flap here is probably my least favorite thing. It just doesn't quite do its job of filling in that shape. I guess from some angles and definitely from a distance it does, but to me just up close, not so much. This is a relatively new piece. Well, I mean, it's some years old now, but relative to other wedge plates, it's nice to get that already in a coated finish. You can see the surround here with the standard city style fenders is done with just a light gray, but that doesn't stand out in a bad way to me. Oops. Did not push those. There we go. Did not push those right there. All together quite well enough. Really interesting technique was used for the surrounds, kind of the bezels around the Infinity Stones here, using the inverted purse piece in a pearl gold, and they're held in place. They're kind of snapped in just around the sides with the ends of some roller skate parts. So just the end of the roller skate helps to hold that in place. And this has a little bit of bend to it, so it's able to get right up against the edge. They also used the drum lacquered or metal coated, well, metal like flake coated ingots up there, which has a little bit of extra shine for each. This is trans bright green. The other colors are just standard colors. And we'll look at the articulation for the fingers in a minute. My favorite thing probably is just this right here. Just showing that crease and how just satisfyingly shaped it is. The base and the upper part, the dark red between the bricks and the plates and tiles. It just felt good to me. This is just adding a little bit of extra texture, switching behind here between the tiles and the ingots, and I think that's to good effect. And generally, I think this looks good from every angle. Looks almost equally good from every angle. Also down here at the base, of course, the base is done pretty much the same way as usual, but this is a printed plaque for those interested. No stickers in this set. In terms of articulation, the thumb has a ball joint at the base of it. Everything else is done with just clip and bar technique, single axis joints. But you've got a ball joint down here with enough room to move this around a fair bit, to change the angle of the thumb. But to make a thumb really work like a human thumb, you need all of this down here to move as well, because look how much of the lowermost bone moves. Like that's a lot of movement. That would be all this down here, and that would require lots of gaps and everything. So I understand why they didn't want to do that. Thankfully, there is enough room to at least rotate this in, and then you've got this one joint right here that's on a single axis. Doesn't able to quite go as far as I want either. Then all of these are just on single axis joints. So you've got 1, 2 here, 1, 2, 3 here, 1, 2, 3 here, and then the same thing again for the index finger. The total amount of flex that you can get on these fingers varies from finger to finger, so the end one is not able to come all the way in, unfortunately. So it leaves that big gap. If you're trying to go for a fist, the best you can do for a fist is right about, rotate this around, tuck those in right about there, honestly. Right about there. It's not particularly convincing, right? From this side, that's okay. I really wish that this little one was able to go down lower. Not that convincing, but yeah, you can live with it. You can make it work. But if you want to go for a snap, it's the most important thing, a snap. This is a snap, right? No, it's not working. It's not working. Most importantly, I need to be able to get these two fingers to really tuck down to try to go flat, and they're not able to. And these aren't able to rotate towards each other. You've got this a little bit of extra side-to-side flay movement here with the way that modified 1x1, and you can do that out here as well, is able to rotate around. But yeah, that doesn't really help with this case because I'm not able to move this one very much. It's only able to go a little bit, and it's not enough to get in close. And I want the end to be relatively straight because it almost needs to be hyper extended, and it's not able to do that, this last little bit right here. So yeah, as far as that's concerned, I do want this to be relatively flat. This is about where I'm getting with it, It's like it's trying, but it's not quite there. So, obviously a lot of people want to use just the middle finger, but I can do this. That's convincing enough. That works. And you kind of point it. That's awkward though. Looks like it's gonna break, but number one, almost looks like it's giving the wrong finger though. You gotta be careful about that. Make sure that show it more from this side, I think, a little bit. But yeah, those are the limitations. They're kind of as expected though, honestly. The Infinity Gauntlet, I feel, did a little bit better in getting closer to a snap kind of look. I think that's more by virtue of just the shape of the tips of the fingers there. It looks more like it's pointing towards something. Like it has, like you're moving your fingers in the direction of starting a snap. Like it's about to do a snap. Still not able to get all the way there, and there's still tremendous amount of limitation back here. Between these two, there's a lot more visual bulk here, and I feel like this grabs your attention better. But at the same time, there is a lot of contrast over here. This grabs your attention because it's gold and there's so much shine on it. There's so many drum lacquered pieces on it, which is really cool. I feel like this is a little bit more refined. It doesn't have as many different types of shapes trying to come together, which makes sense. It's based on the subject matter. I get it, but yeah, I think between these two, probably most people would go for the Infinity Gauntlet. It's just more recognizable and all the gold and everything. However, this one is able to have a much nicer, more consistent color scheme. The dark tan didn't work that great here. The medium nougat that's used up in here really, really sticks out way too much. The two different types of gold, the fact that you've got the drum lacquered gold and then the pearl gold, which are completely different hues, different saturation, everything about them is different except for one part of the name there. So this looks to me more refined, a lot more refined, and it is not the same build as this at all. There are some similarities, especially in the joints here, but throughout the whole experience really felt different. So I don't think if you've built this, you'll get bored building this. I think it is worthwhile to have both if you like both. These here are the only leftover pieces, and again, there's no sticker sheet for this set. When it comes to price and value, I honestly don't have a whole lot to say here. $70 US, 70 euros, 60 pounds UK is expensive, but it's not outrageous, I think, for today's market for what it is and everything. I personally would like to see it at like 50, 55, and would expect Lego to ask 60 for it or so. So, we're not too far out of the realm of what I consider to be normal or normal-ish. And we are starting to see sales show up from time to time. So if you're looking for this and you're not comfortable with the value, hopefully we'll be able to find some discounts out there on the market. Of course, that completely depends on where you live in the world. Some places get ridiculous, crazy discounts as soon as something is released or even before it's released. That's not the case for everybody. So be sure that we understand that the financial situation, the market situation is different from place to place, and not make too many assumptions about that. But at least this looks good. It's really lacking in articulation, but at least it looks good. And I personally am happy with it. I like the the coated parts on it and everything, and just generally, yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with it. Would like it to be cheaper, of course, but yeah, it's not bad. Printed plaque, good. Overall, happy with it. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.